Hello everybody. This is Bentley Compost Guy Christie, and for some of you who sort of been following the public channel, it's been a while. It's probably been 5 years or so since I published anything in the public channel. I have shared a few videos with email subscribers here and there, just some unlisted videos. But anyway, funny enough, the last video that I did post in the public channel was called my uber natural worm composting system, and that was focused on this system where I was trying to get a wide variety of these other composting organisms to thrive. And one of those composting organisms is, of course, isopods. And what you're staring at right here, you're probably wondering what on earth you're looking at. This is a very serious isopod system of mine, and over the last handful of years I've been getting a lot more focused and serious about isopods, not to the extent where I'm not caring about worm composting or anything like that. I do think that they work very well together, but I feel like I kind of unlocked the mystery of properly raising isopods. And it really actually required me to dive into the world of isopod keeping, which is in fact a thing. If you're a worm composter or composter, you might not realize that, but there's this whole world of people who do raise isopods, and they obviously know their stuff. And really, it came down to the fundamentals, just like worm composting. It's all about the fundamentals, and once you know those, things work quite well. So the system that I have here, you can see it's an open bin system. It's sort of, I call it my mama isopod system. It's sort of the bigger one that I have right now. I have multiple bucket systems I'll probably share in another video. But anyway, it's open. And that's one big difference you see right up the bat. Like a lot of times with a worm bin, you're going to have an enclosed system. And what I discovered is that trying to raise isopods really well in an enclosed system never quite worked all that well. So so that's a big thing. Airflow is very important for isopods. You can see that I have like this crazy amount of food waste on the surface, and one of the amazing things about isopods is that you can do things that you wouldn't normally do in a worm bin. I would never put all these types of material, especially not like fresh materials, right? This is fresh stuff, and that is meat, believe it or not. Isopods appreciate a protein source, and that is some chicken right there. So this is something you would never do in a worm bin. And citrus. No, I'm not going to claim that they're going to process this in 24 hours or anything, but you'd be amazed at the way they just continue to chew at these materials that this, sitting in a worm bin would probably take a while, especially this cabbage. Cabbage is very resistant. These are all very resistant things. Carrots, very resistant. They'll even start to grow in a worm bin. And the isopods chew it right down. They just chew away at it. And you can see their little isopod castings there. And that's another thing that I want to talk to you about, is this is material that came from one of my bucket systems that you can see it's sort of like a peat-like, rich, beautiful stuff that is just like, almost like worm castings. Okay? So the beauty of the isopods, aside from being able to literally munch, unlike worms, on these hard materials, you can see the holes, is that they just absolutely destroy what we call the browns. Now, fall leaves is the prime example. That is one material where if I added it to when I do add it to this over and over and over and over again, they plow through brown fall leaves like there's no tomorrow. Straw, this is, you can see this is straw. It's not quite as exciting to them. So, you see that? See how many are in there? And you see all these little fibers. Those fibers are actually from fall leaves. The only thing they leave behind is the veins, essentially. So, you can see I have these egg carton, these big egg carton things. They're getting like, they're breaking down. They're getting destroyed. They don't feed on the cardboard quite as readily as they would the leaves and these other materials. But over time, it's going to break down, and it's a fantastic material. I know some of you probably kind of creeped out. Oh, he's got his fingers in this stuff. But, you know, I don't let it faze me too much. And you can see this is an integrated system. We got the composting worms down below, taking advantage of the moisture, and probably the isopod poop. They're probably like chewing on that. And then the isopods tend to be up. Well, they're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. But they really, really need some dry areas. They need moisture, but they need dry areas more so than the worms for sure. And one thing that I do want to address, I don't want to make this video too crazy long. We'll have some other additional videos moving forward, but the one thing about the particular type of isopod that I'm working with, it's called Porcellio scaber, and it's a very common isopod in North America. It's one that I very, very highly recommend anyone who's interested in isopod composting to work with, just because it is a voracious feeder. It can work a wide variety of temperatures. It doesn't need to be super hot. It doesn't, you know, it can work, munch on stuff at a pretty cool temperature. I'm down in my basement here, and it's quite cool during the winter. And this population has just gone and gone and gone, as you can see. So they're fantastic, not only because of what I just said, but also because they have no ability to climb whatsoever. So you're probably wondering, like, why aren't they just like escaping out of this bin? Like a worm could probably literally climb the wall of the bin better than Porcellio scaber. So they're fantastic for my bucket systems and for these plastic bin systems, because they will absolutely breed like crazy, but they can't escape. And having this open system, it's a much more of a humane environment for them. Obviously, I'd hate the idea of just like having this crazy population of them enclosed and just like desperately wanting to get out. That's not very nice. But in this case, I have this big mound of stuff that's up top, and they just come up. Like, you didn't really necessarily see it at the start of the video, but a lot of times it's just absolutely coated with the isopods. They come up to feed and get moisture, and it's just, it's really, really mind-blowing. And below here, like, this is a good half of the volume at least is absolutely loaded with basically that stuff. So I don't know, there's a lot of things that are really cool about this. Again, like, composting worms are never gonna lose favor as far as I'm concerned. They have an incredible ability to convert waste into an amazing type of all-natural fertilizer. But I think that isopods can play an incredible role in all of this, especially when you kind of get them working together, because the worms can't do this stuff. They cannot process this stuff in any kind of timely manner. They don't have teeth. They're they need microbial assistance. They need this stuff to break down and to rot a bit before they can really work on it. Whereas these isopods, they're literally in there just chewing on the stuff. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, it's something I want to probably talk about a little bit more. I don't want to make this video like ridiculously long. It's already 10 minutes. But anyway, hope you found this interesting. Don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, looking forward to making some additional videos as well.